Shout out to Coco 2005 for sending me this story that is coming out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. I swear, Pennsylvania, at least the white areas of Pennsylvania, have become ground zero for these priests and their pedophilic ways. Because it seems like every time I get a story that's coming out of Pennsylvania now involving white people, it has something to do with a priest and them messing with these kids or these minors. But anyway, this man's name is Kevin Lonergan, and he's a 30-year-old priest, and he looks older than 31. But he has been charged with an indecent assault because apparently this man had took nude pictures of himself and sent them to a 17-year-old parishioner who I'm almost assuming is probably a boy. But as we read this article, we shall soon find out the whole story. A 30-year-old priest is accused of sending nude photos of himself to it was a 17-year-old girl. It was not a boy. But it's still sick neither way. He met through his work at an Allentown parish. The criminal charges come 1 week after the Pennsylvania Attorney General released an 884-page grand jury report detailing decades of sexual abuse and cover-ups across 6 dioceses, including the Diocese of Allentown. In a crowded news conference, Lehigh County District Attorney Jim Martin said the latest charges levied Tuesday are not related to the grand jury investigation. Kevin Lonergan of Pottsville is charged with 1 count each of corruption of minors and indecent assault. He could face a maximum of 9 years in prison if convicted of both counts. He was arraigned Tuesday afternoon on the charges and was released on a $50,000 unsecured bail. Lonergan allegedly met the victim in August 2017 before Mass at St. Francis of Assisi, or Assisi, Church on 11th Street in Allentown, where he was assigned. He has been a priest for 5 years, and it was not immediately clear if he had worked at other churches. First off, him being a priest for 5 years, so that means he's been a priest since he was 25. I always felt like priests should have, were more older. This is probably the youngest one I've seen so far. It says he got her cell phone number from another member of the church and communicated with her mostly via Snapchat through January, the district attorney said. They need to find out who he got the number from. Some of those messages allegedly included nude photos. In February, Lonergan hugged the victim at church. She attempted to pull away, but he pulled her closer and grabbed her rear over her clothes. After the victim told another priest of the assault in June, the diocese reported it to the DA's office, and Lonergan was immediately suspended from public ministry. Though they are not connected, the allegations against Lonergan followed a grand jury report alleging that at least 1,000 identified children were abused at the hands of 301 priests across the state, including 35 named priests and 1 layperson in Allentown Diocese. Martin said neither the timing of the report nor the fact that the case involved a priest affected how his staff investigated. Regrettably, we have a lot of cases of this type, which involve child victims who are subject to sexual and other types of abuse. The fact that this happens to be a clergy member is certainly regrettable and in today's climate newsworthy, but is much the same vein as any other case. The diocese statement said Lonergan has retained his own legal counsel at his own expense, but it did not name his attorney. The statement also explained why the diocese didn't immediately announce the allegations. This has been its practice in recent years as part of an effort to deal with such allegations with transparency. The announcement was delayed, however, after the district attorney asked the diocese not to make an immediate announcement because it might interfere with the investigation, the statement says. The diocese cooperated fully with the law enforcement investigation. Like I said, anytime now that a story comes out of PA and it's in a white town and it involves a priest, we can pretty much say that it's pretty much it's pretty much standard. But you know what I've also noticed now is that they're popping up like crazy. Remember what happened last year in October when the whole Harvey Weinstein thing happened and Me Too came onto the scene, and they were going up after mostly white men? Don't be surprised if they try that same narrative with these priests and start going after black pastors too. But mostly with black pastors, the things that come out of them is mostly money swindling or some type of fraud that involves money. The last time we had a black pastor with something like this was Bishop Eddie Long, who is now deceased, when it came out that he was messing with some young boys at the time, and this was years ago. And I think that was the only one, and I don't think there's been one since. Actually, I take that back. It was, well, he wasn't a priest though, so that person doesn't count. So forget what I was about to tell you. But they were connected to the church, but they weren't a priest. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled, because I won't be surprised if they try to switch this narrative. But anyway, y'all let me know what you think about this story down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be down below. I will talk to you in the next one.